The Forbidden Mission. The stars stretched across the dark sky like scattered diamonds as Commander Zarn stood on the observation deck of the assassin ship, Vilkor. The sleek, shadow-black craft was the pride of the Xyloxian Empire, built for speed, stealth, and precision. But tonight, Zarn felt no pride. His orders weighed heavily on his mind. The Council of Elders had made their decision clear. Humanity had become too ambitious, too unpredictable. The Empire feared that if left unchecked, humans could disrupt the balance of power in the galaxy. Zarn's mission was simple: eliminate key human leaders and cripple Earth's growing influence. Yet, something about the mission gnawed at him. "Commander," a voice interrupted his thoughts. It was Drix, the team's strategist. Her reptilian eyes shimmered with intelligence as she handed him a datapad. "We've intercepted Earth's latest transmissions. Their technological advancements are accelerating. The Council's concerns may not be unfounded." Zarn scanned the datapad. Reports of human space exploration, advanced AI, and experimental energy weapons filled the screen. But one detail caught his attention: a human base located deep beneath their oceans. It was marked as a high-priority target. "This mission isn't just about strategy, is it?" Zarn muttered. "The Council is hiding something from us." Drix hesitated before speaking. "There are whispers, Commander. The artifact the humans uncovered. It's said to be older than the Xyloxian Empire itself." Zarn's sharp gaze met hers. "An artifact. Why wasn't this in our briefing?" Drix shrugged. "Perhaps they thought we didn't need to know. Or perhaps they fear what we might do with that knowledge." The Vilkor drifted silently toward Earth, cloaked in advanced stealth technology. The rest of Zarn's team prepared for the mission in the armory. Lawyer, the weapons specialist, inspected his plasma blades with precision, while Vex, the infiltration expert, calibrated her cloaking device. "This is a waste of time," Liar grumbled, his voice low and gravelly. "Humans are primitive. Their weapons are laughable. Why does the Council see them as a threat?" "Because they're unpredictable," Vex replied, her tone sharper than her daggers. "You've seen the reports. They adapt faster than any species we've encountered. And now, they have something the Council wants." Zarn entered the room, his commanding presence silencing the discussion. "Enough. We have a mission to complete. Whatever the Council's true motives, we'll deal with them later. Focus on the task at hand." The team nodded, though unease lingered in the air. As the ship entered Earth's orbit, Zarn couldn't shake the feeling that this mission was different. They weren't just assassins tonight. They were pawns in a larger game. He didn't like being a pawn. The first target was a remote research facility hidden in the Rocky Mountains. Intelligence suggested it housed critical human leaders working on classified projects. The team deployed with precision, their movements as silent as shadows. Zarn led the way, his HUD scanning the facility's defenses. To his surprise, the humans had advanced beyond what their intelligence reports indicated. Automated turrets, high-energy barriers, and surveillance drones guarded the perimeter. "They've been busy," Liar muttered, his voice tinged with grudging respect. Vex smirked. "Let's see how good they really are." The team infiltrated the facility, disabling defenses with practiced ease. But as they reached the central control room, Zarn found something unexpected. A holographic display projected a rotating image of an artifact, a glowing crystalline object pulsating with energy. Around it, human scientists worked frantically, their faces illuminated by the eerie light. "That's it," Drix whispered over the comms. "The artifact." Zarn's instincts screamed at him to retreat, to abort the mission. This wasn't just about eliminating humans. The Council wanted the artifact. But why? And why had they hidden its existence from him? "Commander, orders," Vex asked, her hand hovering over her dagger. Zarn hesitated. For the first time in his career, he didn't know what to do. Before he could respond, alarms blared. The humans had detected them. Soldiers poured into the room, their weapons trained on the team. Zarn raised his plasma blade, ready to fight, but then something unexpected happened. One of the human scientists stepped forward, holding a small device. "Wait," she shouted. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were defiant. "If you kill us, you'll never understand what this artifact can do." "Stand down," Liar growled, his blade humming with energy. "She's stalling," Vex said, her grip tightening on her dagger. "Enough," Zarn barked. He turned to the scientist. "What is this artifact? Why is it so important?" The scientist hesitated, then took a deep breath. "It's not just important to us. It's important to the entire galaxy. If you destroy it, you'll unleash something none of us can control." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Zarn's mind raced. The Council hadn't mentioned anything about the artifact being dangerous. Were they willing to risk the entire galaxy just to suppress humanity? "Commander, we're out of time," Drix said, her voice urgent. "What are your orders?" Zarn clenched his jaw. His loyalties, his beliefs, everything he had been taught. It all felt like a lie. For the first time in his life, he questioned the empire he had sworn to serve. "Fall back," he said finally. "We're not killing anyone today." His team exchanged shocked glances but obeyed without question. As they retreated into the shadows, Zarn couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something far greater than himself or the Empire. Humanity's hidden arsenal. The Vilcor hovered in Earth's orbit, its cloaking systems rendering it invisible to human sensors. Inside the ship, the air was tense. Commander Zarn paced the control room, his mind replaying the events from the research facility. The artifact's image wouldn't leave his thoughts. Its crystalline glow seemed almost alive. The human scientist's words echoed in his mind. "If you destroy it, you'll unleash something none of us can control." Drix entered the room, her sharp features illuminated by the glowing monitors. "Commander," she said, her voice cautious, "we've intercepted another human transmission. This time, it's from their oceanic base." "Oceanic base?" Zarn asked, turning to her. She nodded. "Coordinates are here." She tapped the console, and a holographic map appeared, displaying a location deep in the Pacific Ocean. "They're calling it the Abyssal Vault. According to intercepted reports, they've been hiding advanced technology there for decades. It's heavily guarded, but what?" Zarn pressed. Drix hesitated. "It appears they've developed weapons using the artifact's energy signature. The Council might not be prepared for what humanity is capable of." Zarn frowned. "Prepare the team. We're going to the Abyssal Vault." The Vilcor descended into Earth's atmosphere under the cover of darkness, making its way to the Pacific. The ocean stretched endlessly beneath them, an inky expanse that seemed to swallow the light. The ship halted above the coordinates, and the team donned their aquatic suits. "This feels reckless," Liar muttered as he adjusted his gear. "We barely escaped the last encounter, and now we're diving into their strongest fortress." "Do you have a better idea?" Vex shot back, securing her cloaking device. "Enough," Zarn ordered. "We need answers. Whatever the humans have down there, it's important enough to make the Council nervous. That alone makes it worth the risk." The team launched from the Vilcor, plunging into the cold, dark water. The suit's advanced propulsion systems carried them swiftly toward the ocean floor. As they descended, the pressure increased, but the team's suits adapted seamlessly. A faint glow appeared in the distance, a massive illuminated structure carved into the seabed. "The Abyssal Vault," Drix said over the comms. "Impressive. For humans." The vault was a marvel of engineering. Its walls were reinforced with a strange alloy that even Zarn couldn't identify. Automated defense drones patrolled the perimeter, their sharp beams slicing through the water. The team maneuvered carefully, using the shadows to avoid detection. Inside the vault, the humans were hard at work. Through a reinforced observation window, Zarn saw a massive chamber housing the artifact, or perhaps a piece of it. Energy pulsed through the room, powering an array of experimental weapons and machines. Scientists moved with urgency, their faces tense with determination. "This changes everything," Drix whispered. "They've reverse-engineered the artifact's energy. These weapons could challenge the Empire's fleet." "Not just challenge," Vex added. "Destroy." Zarn felt a strange mix of awe and dread. Humanity wasn't the primitive species the Council had described. They were resourceful, clever, and unyielding. But why had the Council lied? What was the real reason behind their fear of humans? Before Zarn could process his thoughts, an alarm blared. The team froze. "They've detected us," Liar growled, gripping his plasma blades. "No," Zarn said, his voice calm but firm. "They detected something else." The observation window shattered as a massive, serpentine machine emerged from the shadows of the chamber. It wasn't a drone. It was a weapon, one powered directly by the artifact's energy. The machine's eyes glowed a fierce blue as it turned toward the intruders. "Fall back. Now," Zarn ordered. The team moved swiftly, but the machine was faster. It surged through the water with predatory grace, firing concentrated energy blasts. Zarn barely dodged one, the heat searing past his suit. "This thing is hunting us," Vex said, her voice tight with tension. "Keep moving." Zarn barked. "We can't fight it here." The team navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the vault, the machine relentless in its pursuit. Finally, they reached a service tunnel that led back to open water. As they swam upward, Zarn caught a glimpse of something that made his blood run cold. A hidden chamber, briefly illuminated by the artifact's glow, contained what looked like stasis pods. Inside were humanoid figures, dozens of them, each one larger and more imposing than any human he had seen before. "Commander," Drix said, her voice trembling. "Those aren't humans. They're something else." The team reached the surface, their breathing heavy as they boarded the Vilcor. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them back into the safety of orbit. Zarn stood in the control room, staring at Earth below. "What did we just see?" Liar asked, his usual bravado replaced by unease. "Humans aren't just developing weapons," Drix said. "They're preparing for a war. Not just with us, but with something far worse." Zarn nodded, his thoughts racing. The Council had sent them to eliminate a threat, but the real threat might not be humanity. The artifact, the stasis pods, the weaponized machine. It all pointed to something ancient and dangerous, something the Council had kept hidden. "We're being lied to," Zarn said finally. "The Council knows more than they're telling us. And if we don't figure it out, the galaxy could be in greater danger than we ever imagined." The artifact's secret. The Vilcor hung in the emptiness of space, a shadow against the backdrop of stars. Commander Zarn sat in the dim glow of the ship's tactical room, his eyes locked on the hologram of the artifact. Its crystalline structure shimmered as if alive, each pulse resonating with an energy he couldn't explain. The silence in the room was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's systems. Trix entered, her footsteps soft but deliberate. "Commander, we've analyzed the data from the Abyssal Vault. The artifact's energy signature matches no known element in the galaxy." Zarn didn't look up. "And the stasis pods." Drix hesitated. "The life forms inside. They aren't human. Their DNA is unlike anything we've encountered. Whatever the humans found, it's not just a weapon. It's ancient, older than the Empire." Zarn leaned back, his mind racing. The Council had sent them to eliminate humanity, claiming they were a threat. But now it was clear. Humanity wasn't the threat. They were the key to something far greater. The artifact was a piece of a puzzle, and the Council had been hiding the rest. "Commander," Vex's voice crackled over the comms, sharp and urgent. "You need to see this." Zarn and Drix hurried to the bridge, where the rest of the team was gathered. Vex stood by the main console, her face illuminated by a data stream she had intercepted. "It's a human transmission," Vex said, gesturing to the screen. "But it's not directed toward Earth. They're sending a signal into deep space. The transmission was encrypted, but fragments of the message were clear. Artifact activated. Signal amplified. Coordinates aligned. Awaiting response. They're trying to communicate with someone, Drix said, her voice tinged with unease. Or something. Zarn's jaw tightened. Track the coordinates. I want to know where this signal is going. The coordinates led to a desolate region of space, a system long abandoned and shrouded in mystery. The team knew it only as the Void, a place whispered about in Xyloxian legends. Ships that ventured into the Void rarely returned. This is madness, Lyre muttered, his hands gripping the console. If the humans are calling for help, it's not from allies. It's from whatever created that artifact. Then we need to get there before they do, Zarn said firmly. Set a course. The Vilcor engaged its hyperdrive, the stars stretching into streaks of light as they hurtled toward the Void. As the ship approached its destination, the sensors began to malfunction. The area was thick with interference, and the ship's systems struggled to adapt. When they dropped out of hyperspace, the team was met with a sight that took their breath away. A massive derelict structure loomed before them, its metallic surface etched with markings that glowed faintly. The ship's scanners struggled to make sense of the readings. It's a station, Drix said, awe in her voice, or what's left of one. The energy signature matches the artifact. This is what the humans were signaling, Zarn said. Prepare for entry. The team donned their suits and boarded the station through a breach in its hull. The interior was vast and labyrinthine, its walls covered in strange, glowing symbols. The air was heavy with a sense of something ancient and forgotten. As they ventured deeper, they came across chambers filled with more stasis pods, thousands of them. The figures inside were massive, their forms almost godlike. Each pod emitted a faint hum, as if waiting for something, or someone, to wake them. This place isn't abandoned, Drix whispered. It's a tomb. And it's alive. A sudden vibration rippled through the station, causing the walls to pulse with light. The team froze as a voice echoed through the chamber, not in words, but in emotions and images. It was a language older than time itself, and it filled their minds with a single message. The awakening has begun. Before they could react, the stasis pods began to glow brighter, one by one. The figures inside stirred, their eyes opening to reveal the brilliant, otherworldly light. The team backed away, weapons drawn. We need to leave. Now, Lyre said, his voice laced with panic. We can't, Zarn said, his gaze locked on the awakening beings. This is what the artifact was protecting. This is what the Council feared. The glowing figures stepped out of their pods, their movements graceful yet imposing. One of them spoke, its voice resonating in their minds. You are not the ones who called us. Why are you here? Zarn took a step forward, his instincts screaming at him to run, but his sense of duty keeping him rooted. We came to understand the artifact, to understand the humans. The figure tilted its head, as if studying him. The humans do not understand what they possess. They have awakened forces they cannot control. If the artifact is fully activated, it will tear the galaxy apart. The figure raised a hand, and an image appeared in the air, a projection of Earth. Lines of energy snaked across the planet, converging on the abyssal vault. The artifact's energy was growing, and its pulse was accelerating. They don't know what they've done, Drix said, her voice barely above a whisper. Zarn turned to the figure. Can it be stopped? The being's eyes glowed brighter. Not by us. The artifact is a key, but the humans must decide how to use it. If they fail, the galaxy will burn. As the station trembled, the team knew their time was running out. Zarn made a decision. Return to the ship, he ordered. We need to warn the humans. They need to know what's at stake. Humanity's last stand. The Vilcor hovered in the shadow of Earth, its cloaking systems pushed to their limit as the team monitored the planet below. The artifact's energy had grown exponentially, its pulses now visible from orbit. What had started as a faint glow in the depths of the abyssal vault had become a beacon of raw power, sending shockwaves across the galaxy. Commander Zarn stood at the ship's main viewport, his eyes locked on the swirling patterns of energy emanating from the artifact's core. Earth's surface was alive with activity, human cities mobilizing, defense systems activating, and an unmistakable sense of desperation spreading across the globe. "Commander," Drix said, her voice tight with urgency, "we've intercepted a new transmission from Earth's military command. They're preparing to launch a full-scale counteroffensive against something." Zarn frowned. "Against what?" Drix tapped the console, and a series of blurry images filled the screen. Massive ships, unlike any human design, were descending through the atmosphere. Their jagged edges and pulsating cores matched the energy signature of the artifact. These weren't human ships. They were the awakened beings' vessels, coming to reclaim what humanity had disturbed. "Humanity is outnumbered," Vex said, leaning against the console with her arms crossed. "Their weapons are advanced, but those things, they're not just soldiers. They're something else entirely." "Then we give them an edge," Zarn said, his voice steady but resolute. "Prepare the stealth drones. We'll deliver the tactical data on the enemy ships directly to Earth's forces." Lyre turned from his station, his brow furrowed. "You're serious. We're going to help the species we were sent to destroy." Zarn turned to face his team. "This isn't just about humanity anymore. If the artifact's energy isn't contained, it won't stop with Earth. The entire galaxy is at risk." Lyre grunted but didn't argue. He knew Zarn was right. The Vilcor descended closer to Earth, skimming the upper atmosphere. Zarn and his team worked quickly, deploying a network of stealth drones to gather critical data on the invading ships. The drones transmitted real-time feeds to Earth's military command, highlighting weak points in the enemy vessel's defenses. "Humans are responding," Drix said, watching as Earth's defense systems came to life. Missile batteries fired into the sky, striking the alien ships with calculated precision. Advanced fighters streaked across the atmosphere, engaging the enemy with surprising ferocity. For a moment, it seemed as though humanity might stand a chance, but then the artifact's energy surged again, disrupting Earth's power grids and communication systems. Chaos erupted as cities plunged into darkness and defenses faltered. "We're losing them," Drix said, her tone grim. "The artifact is destabilizing everything." Zarn made a quick decision. "We need to get to the artifact. If we can contain its energy, we might buy the humans enough time to turn the tide." "Contain it," Vex said incredulously. "We don't even know what it is, let alone how to control it." "We don't have a choice," Zarn replied. "Prepare for deployment. We're going to the abyssal vault." The team launched from the Vilcor, their suits slicing through Earth's atmosphere like comets. The abyssal vault was in chaos, its once secure perimeter breached by both human forces and the awakened beings. The artifact's energy pulses rippled through the ocean, creating massive waves that threatened to engulf the surrounding areas. As the team entered the vault, they were met with a scene of destruction. Human soldiers and the alien invaders clashed in fierce combat, their weapons lighting up the dark corridors. Zarn and his team moved swiftly, avoiding the fighting as they made their way to the artifact's chamber. When they arrived, the sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The artifact floated above its pedestal, spinning rapidly as tendrils of energy lashed out in every direction. The air was thick with power, and Zarn could feel it vibrating through his suit. "What's the plan, Commander?" Drix asked, her voice tense. Zarn stepped closer to the artifact, his HUD scanning its structure. "We stabilize it. If we can reverse the energy flow, we might be able to shut it down." "And if we can't?" Lyre asked. "Then we hope humanity can survive the fallout," Zarn said grimly. The team worked quickly, connecting their suits' energy regulators to the artifact. The feedback was immediate and overwhelming, sending shocks through their systems. "This thing isn't just energy," Drix said, struggling to keep her balance. It's alive. It's resisting. The artifact's pulses grew more erratic, and the chamber began to collapse. Chunks of the ceiling fell around them as Zarn pushed forward, his mind racing for a solution. Then he remembered the words of the awakened being on the derelict station. The humans must decide how to use it. It's not responding to us because we're not human, Zarn realized. We need someone who is. Just as all seemed lost, a human scientist stumbled into the chamber, her face bloodied, and her movements desperate. It was the same woman Zarn had seen at the research facility. You, Zarn shouted. The artifact, it needs a human. Can you stabilize it? The scientist hesitated, her eyes wide with fear. I don't know how. We've been trying for years. Then try harder, Zarn barked. If you don't, everyone on this planet dies. The scientist took a deep breath and approached the artifact. She placed her hands on its surface, and the room filled with a blinding light. The pulses slowed, and for a moment, there was silence. The truth revealed. The Vilcor floated in high orbit, its sleek frame blending into the vastness of space. Below, Earth was a planet on the brink. The artifact's energy pulses had slowed, but left an eerie stillness in their wake. The invaders' ships hovered in the atmosphere like vultures, their movements calculated and patient. On board the Vilcor, Commander Zarn stood in the briefing chamber, his team gathered around a holographic projection of the artifact. It stabilized, but only temporarily, Drix said, her voice tinged with unease. Whatever that human scientist did bought us time, but the artifact is still active. Its energy is growing again, slowly but steadily. And the invaders? Liar asked, his hand resting on the hilt of his plasma blade. They're waiting, Vex replied. It's like they know something we don't. They haven't launched a full assault since the artifact stabilized. Zarn stared at the hologram, his mind racing. The artifact wasn't just a weapon. It was a key, a gateway to something far greater. The beings in the stasis pods, the derelict station in the void, the Council's fear of humanity. It all pointed to one truth. The artifact held the power to reshape the galaxy. Commander, Drix interrupted his thoughts. We've intercepted another transmission from Earth. The human scientist, the one who stabilized the artifact, has woken up. What does she say? Zarn asked. Drix hesitated. She claims the artifact. Spoke to her. The room fell silent. Even Lutter, who rarely took anything seriously, straightened up. Spoke to her. Vex repeated, incredulous. What does that mean? She says the artifact gave her a vision, Drix continued. A memory of the galaxy's past. She claims it showed her the truth about the Empire, the artifact, and humanity's role in all of this. The team descended to Earth, their ship cloaked as it landed near the abyssal vault. The facility was in ruins, its corridors filled with debris and the bodies of fallen soldiers. But in the heart of the vault, the artifact chamber remained intact, its crystalline structure pulsing faintly. The human scientist, Dr. Ilara Finn, stood near the artifact, her expression distant. She didn't flinch as Zarn and his team approached. You're back, she said, her voice calm but weary. Good. You need to hear this. Zarn stepped forward. You said the artifact spoke to you. What did it say? Dr. Finn turned to face him, her eyes hollow but determined. It showed me what it is, what it was meant to be. She gestured to the artifact. This isn't just a weapon. It's a remnant of the architects, the beings who shaped the galaxy long before any of us existed. They created it to maintain balance, to prevent any one species from dominating. But when the architects disappeared, the artifact became dormant, until now. Why now? Drix asked. Dr. Finn took a deep breath. Because the galaxy is out of balance. The artifact activated because it sensed humanity's growth, the Empire's oppression, and the awakening of something far older than both of us. Zarn's jaw tightened. The Council knew about this, didn't they? Dr. Finn nodded. They've known for centuries. The Empire wasn't built on strength. It was built on fear. They've been suppressing humanity because they're afraid of what we represent. And what is that? Vex asked. Dr. Finn met her gaze. The ability to unite the galaxy. The artifact chose humanity because we're unpredictable, adaptive, and resilient. It sees us as the key to restoring balance. The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. Zarn glanced at the artifact, its faint glow seeming almost watchful. Before anyone could speak, the artifact pulsed, sending a wave of energy through the chamber. Images flooded their minds, scenes of ancient battles, the rise and fall of civilizations, and a dark presence stirring in the void. Dr. Finn gasped. It's waking them. Who? Zarn demanded. The Harbingers, she said, her voice trembling. The beings you saw in the stasis pods. They were the architects and forcers, designed to maintain balance at any cost. If the artifact fully activates, it will summon them to purge the galaxy of everything it deems a threat, including humanity. Zarn's mind raced. The artifact wasn't just a key, it was a test. Humanity's survival depended on their ability to prove they could wield the artifact responsibly. But the Empire's interference, the invaders and the Harbingers made that task nearly impossible. We need to stop the artifact from fully activating, Zarn said. How do we do it? Dr. Finn hesitated. There's a failsafe. The artifact's creators built a way to deactivate it, but it requires immense energy and a sacrifice. Zarn's team exchanged uneasy glances. What kind of sacrifice? Liar asked. The artifact is bonded to me now, Dr. Finn said, her voice steady. If I deactivate it, it will kill me. Chaos unleashed. The artifact pulsed like a heartbeat, its energy rippling through the abyssal vault. Commander Zarn stood at the edge of the chamber, watching Dr. Elara Finn as she adjusted the control matrix connected to the artifact. Her face was pale but resolute. The room around them was in disarray, with debris from previous battles scattered across the floor. Outside, the skies above Earth burned as the alien invaders clashed with human forces in a desperate struggle for survival. We're out of time, Drix said, her voice sharp. The artifact's energy is spiking again. If it fully activates, it'll summon the Harbingers. We've seen what they can do. Zarn didn't respond immediately. His mind was racing, torn between two impossible choices. The artifact wasn't just a threat. It was a challenge, a test to see if humanity could rise above their limitations or fall to their own hubris. But how could they stop it without paying the ultimate price? Dr. Finn broke the silence. I can do this, she said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. I can deactivate the artifact, but it will take everything I have. There has to be another way, Zarn said, his voice firm. We don't sacrifice people unless there's no other option. Finn turned to him, her expression resolute. This isn't just about humanity anymore. If the artifact completes its activation, the Harbingers will destroy everything. Humanity, the Empire, and any species they deem unworthy. You know that. The chamber shook violently as another pulse emanated from the artifact. The team struggled to keep their balance as cracks began to form in the walls. Outside, the sound of explosions echoed through the facility as the invaders pushed closer to the artifact's core. They're coming for it, Vex said, gripping her weapon tightly. If they get their hands on it, it's over. Not if we stop them first. Liar growled, his plasma blade igniting with a sharp hum. Let them come. I'm ready. No one's ready for what's coming, Drix said grimly. This isn't just a fight. It's survival. Before Zarn could issue an order, the artifact pulsed again, this time sending a wave of energy through the chamber. The air became thick with an almost tangible pressure, and a voice filled their minds, not spoken, but felt. The balance must be restored. The voice was ancient and resonant, carrying the weight of millennia. It wasn't a plead. It was a command. Finn staggered, clutching her head. "It's them," she whispered. "The Harbingers. They're waking up." Zarn's eyes narrowed. "Not if we can stop it." He turned to his team. "Hold the line. No one gets to the artifact." The battle erupted in the corridors outside the artifact chamber. The invaders were relentless, their jagged ships unloading wave after wave of soldiers armed with energy weapons that cut through steel like paper. Zarn's team fought with precision, their advanced Xyloxian technology giving them an edge. Plasma blades clashed with energy lances, and the air filled with the crackle of combat. But even as they fought, the artifact continued to destabilize. Its pulses grew stronger, each one sending shockwaves that rattled the vault to its core. "We can't hold them forever," Drix shouted over the comms. "The artifact's energy is destabilizing the entire facility." Inside the chamber, Finn worked frantically at the control matrix, her fingers flying over the console. "I'm almost there," she called out, her voice strained. "I just need a little more time." Zarn knew they didn't have it. The invaders were closing in, and the artifact's energy was nearing critical levels. If Finn couldn't deactivate it soon, the entire planet would be consumed in the fallout. A sudden explosion rocked the chamber, and a group of invaders burst through the door. Zarn and Vex turned to face them, their plasma blades igniting in unison. "Protect the artifact," Zarn ordered, "no matter what." The fight was brutal and chaotic. Zarn's team was outnumbered but not outmatched. Vex moved like a shadow, her blade cutting through the invaders with deadly precision. Liar held the line, his strength and ferocity unmatched. But despite their efforts, more invaders poured in, their focus fixed on the artifact. Finn cried out as a surge of energy erupted from the control matrix, knocking her to the ground. The artifact's glow intensified, filling the room with a blinding light. "It's too late," Finn shouted, her voice tinged with despair. "I can't stop it." As the artifact reached its peak, the light coalesced into a massive energy wave that exploded outward, engulfing the entire facility. Zarn braced himself, expecting the end, but instead, the energy froze in place, suspended in the air like a shimmering aurora. A figure stepped forward from the artifact's core, its form humanoid, but impossibly tall and radiant. Its eyes glowed with a fierce, otherworldly light, and its presence filled the room with an overwhelming sense of power. The figure spoke, its voice resonating in their minds. "You have awakened us. Now, prove your worth, or be erased." A new era. The artifact hovered in the center of the shattered abyssal vault, its crystalline glow pulsing with a steady, ominous rhythm. The Harbinger, a towering, radiant figure with an aura of ancient authority, stood silently before Zarn and Dr. Ilara Finn. Its gaze burned with an intensity that seemed to pierce through their very souls. "You have awakened the balance," the Harbinger said, its voice resonating like the echo of 1,000 stars. "Prove your worth, or be unmade." Commander Zarn tightened his grip on his plasma blade, his team standing behind him, weapons at the ready. Dr. Finn, trembling but resolute, stepped forward. "We didn't mean to awaken you," she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "But now that we have, you need to understand. We're not here to destroy. We're here to build." The Harbinger tilted its head, the light in its eyes flickering. "Your words are empty. Actions define worth." Before Zarn could respond, the artifact emitted another pulse, sending a wave of energy across the vault. The invaders who had paused in awe of the Harbinger were thrown back by the force. The chamber began to quake, its structure groaning under the strain. "What's happening?" Liar shouted, gripping a support beam to keep his balance. "The artifact is testing us," Drix said, her voice tight with urgency. "It's deciding whether we live or die." "Then we better make a good impression," Vex muttered, readying her weapons. The Harbinger raised a hand, and the artifact's glow intensified. A beam of light shot out, creating a holographic projection of the galaxy. Planets, stars, and nebulas swirled in a breathtaking display, but the image quickly darkened. Entire systems were consumed by shadowy tendrils, their light extinguished. "The balance is fragile," the Harbinger said. "Chaos spreads when power is concentrated. Your kind, humans, are the tipping point. Will you unite the galaxy or shatter it further?" Zarn stepped forward. "We can't promise perfection. Humanity isn't flawless, but we adapt, we learn, and we fight for what's right. That's what makes us different." The Harbinger's gaze shifted to Dr. Finn. "And you bear the artifact's mark. Its fate is tied to yours." Finn hesitated, the weight of the responsibility clear in her eyes. "If it means saving humanity and the galaxy, I'll do whatever it takes." The Harbinger raised both hands, and the chamber was flooded with light. The team found themselves standing in an endless void, surrounded by shimmering energy. The artifact floated before them, its crystalline structure pulsating with unimaginable power. "One final test," the Harbinger said. "Restore the balance, or be consumed by chaos." The void shifted, and the team was plunged into a simulation, a battlefield spanning an entire planet. Alien invaders and human soldiers clashed in a chaotic melee, their weapons lighting up the darkened skies. Zarn and his team were caught in the middle, forced to navigate the chaos. "This isn't real," Vex said, her voice sharp. "It's a test. The Harbinger wants to see if we can rise above this." "Then let's pass," Zarn said. "Stay together, protect each other, and don't lose sight of the mission." As they fought their way through the battlefield, the artifact's energy pulsed around them, creating obstacles and challenges designed to test their resolve. Each member of the team was pushed to their limits: Lyre's brute strength, Vex's agility, Drix's intellect. All were put to the ultimate trial. But it was Dr. Finn who faced the greatest challenge. At the center of the battlefield, a massive energy conduit connected to the artifact loomed. It pulsed erratically, threatening to explode and consume everything. "It's the core," Finn said, her voice strained. "If I can stabilize it, we can end this." "You're not doing this alone," Zarn said, standing at her side. "We'll protect you." As Finn worked to stabilize the core, the invaders turned their focus to her, sensing the key to their destruction. Zarn and his team formed a protective circle, fighting with everything they had to hold the line. Blasts of energy lit up the void as the battle reached its climax. The artifact's pulses grew faster, the light brighter, until finally, with a deafening crack, the core stabilized. The void shattered like glass, and the team found themselves back in the abyssal vault. The Harbinger stood before them, its radiant form dimmed but still imposing. "You have passed the test," it said, its voice softer now. "The balance is restored, for now. But your actions will determine the galaxy's future. Use the artifact wisely, or face the consequences." The artifact's glow faded, its energy settling into a calm, steady rhythm. Dr. Finn collapsed to the ground, exhausted but alive. Zarn helped her to her feet, a sense of relief washing over him. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The galaxy watches," Zarn said, "and we lead."